Hello, Abaddon Sentinel here again, and today I'm coming to you with a video about Abaddon the Despoiler. This is a lead up to the painting video that I'm going to be doing. I'm underway with that currently, and hopefully the first part will be with you guys tomorrow. But for now, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background information on Abaddon himself, give you a little story about him. I'm not going to go into massive detail because I don't want to spoil things from the books that people might be reading massively. Just want to give you like a little bit of information on Abaddon himself and, you know, kind of what he's about. So his actual name is Ezekiel Abaddon. He's the first captain of the Lunar Wolves originally. Now he was born on the Lunar Wolves' home planet of Cathonia. Cathonia itself was run by huge gangs, basically. It's a very brutal place. He was actually the son of one of the gang warlords, and just as like a brief thing about his early days, during a coming of age ritual he accidentally killed his own father, which obviously not ideal. It actually led to him being exiled from his gang, and he was left to roam Cathonia just on his own. He did, however, become legendary among the people of Cathonia due to the fact that he grew to quite a big size. Even as a human, he was large, and it was that, alongside his brutality and his combat ability, that actually brought him to the attention of the Lunar Wolves. Now, the Lunar Wolves get most of their members from Cathonia. Depending on whether you know or not, Space Marines are taken from the normal human population, get put through a process in order to turn them into Space Marines. It takes a long time, doesn't always go well, quite often results in death. There's a lot of stuff goes on with that, but that's an entirely separate topic. But yeah, he was spotted by the Lunar Wolves, taken and put into the program to become a Space Marine. He succeeded without really any trouble due to his already, you know, strong stature, his combat ability that I already mentioned, and yeah, he didn't take long to rise through the ranks. With his particular skills, he made quite the name for himself, even in the Lunar Wolves themselves. So yeah, he ended up eventually as the first captain of the first company of the Lunar Wolves, and actually was a member of an elite force of Terminators known as the Just Aaron. I think I'm pronouncing that right, not entirely sure, but yeah, Just Aaron. So skipping forwards, because I'm going to miss out the big chunk of time that is the Horus heresy itself. He was a major player in that. I'm not going to go into a massive amount of detail. Like I say, I don't want to cause any spoilers for people. There is obviously one big thing I'm going to mention, which is kind of unavoidable, and that is obviously the fact that the Horus heresy, Horus lost. Abaddon fled with the remains of what were then called the Sons of Horus rather than the Lunar Wolves. They were renamed just before. They fled into the Eye of Terror. They were scattered along with, you know, all the other traitor legions, and it, to be honest, took a little while, not a massive amount of time, but it took a little while for Abaddon basically to take control. And he spent a lot of time, he went round, he gathered up the scattered forces, reformed the Sons of Horus that would pledge to him back into what he renamed as the Black Legion, which is obviously the army that I play. And once he'd reformed them, he set about using them to go about on their various different missions. He had his own targets in his mind. He's basically determined to succeed where Horus failed. He genuinely believes that Horus gave himself over to the powers of chaos too much. So while Abaddon, he's classed as a Chaos Space Marine, he uses the forces of chaos and things like that, he has not pledged himself to any of the gods. He refuses to do so. He's gained their favour, they all want him. He's quite a powerful being, and with that kind of power comes the attention of the Chaos Gods. And that's why he's managed to gain their favour. They've given him different gifts over the time. He basically, he's a powerful guy. And it wasn't just the Chaos Gods that he did favours for. He did things for the surviving traitor Primarchs to gain their support. He learned about demons from Lorgar. He gained a massive amount of demon engines from Perturabo, the Primarch of the Iron Warriors. Gained Khorne's favour from Angron, Nurgle's favour from Mortarion. Yeah, basically, he was a busy man. He didn't let anything stop him. He was getting on with things, and he's been determined to topple the Imperium ever since. As the story stands, he is currently on his 13th Black Crusade. Black Crusade being an invasion into the Imperium by the forces of chaos. There's a lot of arguments as to whether or not the 12 previous ones failed, or whether they actually had certain objectives that were achieved. But the way that obviously Abaddon would have it be believed is that they were successful in that they completed the certain objectives that he was using to set up for this Black Crusade. But because that's the current storyline, obviously we don't really know anything properly about that yet. As far as we're concerned, he's doing it. We'll see what happens this time, whether or not he manages to get to Terra and to the Golden Throne. Who knows? If you're playing, obviously you'll find out as well. If you're simply just getting into it, you'll be able to find out the storyline from the people that you're playing with. There's a lot of people into this kind of stuff that'll be able to tell you in great detail, straight out of their memory. So with that, I'm going to move on to the last couple of things. Now, he's iconic for two weapons that he uses, one of which is the Talon of Horus. That is a combined lightning claw and storm bolter that he wears on his right hand. As you can probably figure out from the name, it used to belong to the former Primarch of his legion, Horus. He actually had to go on one of his missions that I mentioned when he was in the Eye of Terror in order to actually reclaim this Talon. Again, something I'm not going to go into the full story of that. There are books covering it. But yeah, he regained the Talon of Horus, and he's been using that ever since. You'll be able to see when I'm showing you the painting videos, or if you look at the modelling video, that it does look a bit oversized for him. That's because the Primarchs were, a couple of feet taller than your standard Space Marines. Primarchs are essentially to Space Marines what Space Marines are to normal people. So, there's quite a size difference there. It's a wonder he can actually use the thing. Now, the other weapon is altogether a little bit more interesting and complicated as far as I'm concerned. Now, the other weapon is the big sword that he uses. It's a sword, God, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, sword called Drachnien, and that is a demon sword which is supposedly born of the first murder. Not the sword itself, obviously, but the demon. Because all of the demonic forces in Warhammer and Warhammer 40k are born of the emotions and actions of the mortal races, that was actually born from the act of the first murder, and Drachni in itself actually translates to the end of empires. The first time one human killed another human outside the need to survive, which, you know, is quite an interesting story for, you know, what is essentially a weapon that he just uses to kill people with. But yeah, it's, you know, that particular demon has been around for a long time. You know, way before the Imperium ever existed, before Abaddon was born, before the Emperor even. It's been around for a long time, and it's not actually in itself a sword. The reason that it is a sword in Abaddon's hand is because that's the way that Abaddon wishes it to be. It can actually take any other form that it really wants to as a demon weapon, but the sword is just how Abaddon prefers to wield it. Now, you'll see in the painting videos, or if you Google some pictures and things, the sword blade itself actually has what look like wailing or screaming faces on it, and those are actually the faces of people who the sword has been used to kill, or the demon himself has killed. The souls get trapped by the demon, and they actually writhe across the surface of the blade, which again I think is another quite interesting fact about it. Now, it does actually have a couple of other names given to it by other demons, actually. Other demons call it the Thorn in Reality and the Shad of Madness. Like, apparently other demons actually fear it. He's obviously quite a powerful demon. He's, like I say, he's been around for a long time. Very fueled by rage. He's got you know, quite a power level in comparison to a lot of other demons. Right, so now you know a little bit more about Abaddon. Gives you a little bit of background information to who he is and what he's about. Hopefully it's put you in the mood to watch the painting videos that I'm coming up with. The first one, like I say, should be up tomorrow. After that, I'm not sure when the next one will be just yet. I'll be fitting it around work, like I've said. But hopefully you'll enjoy this first part, and it'll whet your appetite for more. Remember, if you liked the video, to comment, like and subscribe. Hit the bell button if you want notifications of when I upload videos, and thank you for watching. I'll see you again soon.